Now, when it comes to business intelligence, what comes into your mind? What it could be?
Maybe it's using data or other sources of information to make a proper business decision, which will be profitable for the organization.
Yes, absolutely. So, when we say business intelligence, the main or core purpose for business intelligence or applying business intelligence over a particular area within a particular business domain or within a particular application is to gain the benefit in terms of making some business relevant decision. Now, what is business relevant decision? Essentially, the decision which would help the organization in order to have their position or which is more driven from a profitability aspect. Whenever the business, let's say they are doing business since last 10 to 20 years, now they are doing the same process every now and then, every next day they are doing the same process. Now after every year they have to identify some of the areas wherein they could improvise their business decisions or the areas wherein they can invest on, and at a later point of time those investment which they have invested in that particular area should give them the necessary returns. So in order to make those business decisions, we need to first understand the information that we have at present in our current system. Now, the challenge of that particular part is analyzing the information that is currently present in the system is huge. Now, what is that challenge? Now, the challenge is like you cannot make a business decision basis on the information that you have as it is. You have to some way clean those information. You have to some way transform those information into some meaningful dashboards which could give you some business insights. So let's say there are millions of or trillions of information, gigabytes or terabytes of information lying in your existing system. You cannot inspect each and every record in those millions and trillions of information that are available. Now, the other challenge it could be the information may not be present in one specific format. Some information may be present in Excel sheets, some information may be present in PDF files, some information may be present in flat files, some information are structured, some information are semi-structured or unstructured. We need to collect all this information into one particular format at the first place. Now, once we collect all this different information that we are receiving from different sources into one specific format, then we can apply some of the visualization technique and we can inspect those information to drive meaningful business insights. Now, business intelligence essentially revolves around those concepts wherein we generate some meaningful insights for our specific organization. Now, the other question that may come to you is what is business analyst role in business intelligence? Agreed that business analyst they I mean the regular business analyst like the people who are more engaged towards core requirement engineering work, who write the business requirement document or functional spec, or who are working in an agile culture, this particular area may not be relevant to those specific business analyst category, but there is a specific category in business analysis as well, like you have specific role as data analyst, or you have a specific role as your business intelligence analyst, or your data science or data architect or data specialist. These are some of the roles wherein the business analyst would be working exclusively with the data part of that particular system. They would only deal with the data and the information that are there in that particular system. They won't look at how the system is being built or what are the other business analyst core areas, but rather their focus would be more on the data sides. They would be involved heavily in the data part of that particular system, essentially the backend of the system. Now these business analysts, they do not write any such specification document like we do, like we already have gone through different artifacts that a business analyst produce. Instead what they write the business needs. They describe the problem statement. Now, what is the document in which they would write the business need and the problem statement? It is essentially the business case. So for every request that comes in for a business intelligence project, they would be writing the business case, wherein they would be justifying the project and why this particular thing is needed at this point of time. Now, typically, business intelligence projects, they do not go throughout the year. It's not an ongoing project. It starts at a specific duration and it should be winded up within 3 to 6 months of time. It shouldn't take that much time because you do not do business intelligence activity throughout the year. It's once in every 2 year or once in a particular year. So these projects, they come to you once in 1 year or once in 2 year, depending on the contract or engagement that you have with your customers. Now, there are other areas wherein you would be applying some sort of business intelligence or some sort of data manipulation. For example, let's say you are working in a maintenance and support project. Now, what happens in maintenance and support project is we get bugs every day. Bugs as in the defects, the issues, whatever the system is issue are there, they are tracked in the form of bugs and we get bugs every day. Now in those bugs, the size or the volume of the bugs that are being logged into that particular system every day, they keeps on growing. Now as a manager, I would like to see a status report every week wherein I want to highlight or create a chart wherein I would have a count of high severity defect, a count of low severity defect, and a count of medium severity defect. Now, in this context, I cannot, create chart every week for all this thing. Instead, the obvious solution would be I would create a chart and every week a report would be pulled out from that particular application, whether it's a Jira or whether it's a TFS, and that report I would take it in the form of Excel and the chart would auto update itself. So creation of that particular chart is a one-time activity. However, every week we would be filling that chart with fresh set of information. Now, uh, what happens in business intelligence project is one approach is to do an analysis on the historical data, the information that we had in the past. And one way of doing business intelligence in a particular project is doing analysis of those particular information on a periodic basis. For example, every week this particular information that have been accumulated so far, it is refreshed and we get an updated dashboard. Next week we get an updated dashboard. So what we are doing here is we are periodically updating our information basis on our need. So one way is your historical data analysis, wherein we do all the analysis basis on our past data, and one way of analysis is doing periodic refresh of your information to reflect the correct information. Now, that is fine how we do business intelligence for a particular project or how we visualize the information through your graphs or your charts or whatever it is. Now, how do we derive the meaningful insights out of it? Now, that is senior management's work. So, as a business analyst, you would be collecting the information, you would be visualizing that information, you would be representing that information in a particular Excel sheet or whatever tools you use. Probably you might be using Tableau or you might be using Microsoft Power BI. Basis on the information that you send to your senior management would devise their next strategy. So whatever thing that we are doing in this particular exercise, that is essentially to help senior management take respective strategic decisions in their particular organization. To start with, business intelligence comprises the strategies and technologies used by enterprises for data analysis of business information. So essentially the heart of business intelligence is your data analysis work that you do. That is collecting information from different sources, different period, different time, whatever it is. Now BI technologies provide historical, current, and predictive views of business operations. The common function of business intelligence technologies includes reporting, online analytical processing, analytics, data mining, process mining, complex event processing, business performance management, benchmarking, text mining, predictive analytics, and prescriptive analytics. So whatever you say, data analysis or uh, doing data mining or doing some sort of processing, either online or either through your Excel sheet, they all are part of your business intelligence framework to give some meaningful insight for your organization to grow further. Now the process of business intelligence is like, there are four steps in this particular process. One is your extraction, second is your transformation, third is loading, and the fourth is visualization. Now, when we get the information from different sources, we have different sort of information. Some information we would be getting in a clean format, like in Excel sheets. Those information are very clean in nature and it can be processed as we receive them, and we can do our visualization activity. There is no need of doing, transformation and loading if the type of data source is only Excel sheet, that is clean data. Then there are complicated data. Now complicated data could be, you might be receiving some XML file. Now in those XML file, you would be having information as well as XML code. Now you have to separate out those code and take only the information that you would be needing. Or let's say you are receiving information in a JSON file, or let's say you are receiving information in a flat file. Now those category of data falls under complicated data. Now those data needs to be extracted, and the unwanted things needs to be transformed, like the code or any blank spaces or any white spaces, and then it would be loaded into that particular system. Then the third category of information is your garbage data, which looks to us that this is meaningful information or meaningful data, but we don't need it. So in sort of your XML file, there would be some nodes which would be the same name as the data element name. So we don't need the node name. We only need the data that is contained in that particular node. So those are garbage information that we need to eliminate. Now, depending on the source from where you are receiving the information, the Excel sheet or PDF or whatever, you have to first extract those information. Now, after extracting those information, you have to transform that information. Transform as in, you have to put all the different sources of information that you receive from different file format. You have to collectively transform that information into one particular file format. So let's say your business team decides that we would be needing information only in Excel sheet. So if you are receiving information in Excel sheet, then it's fine, it's clean data, we would be putting it as it is into that Excel sheet. But what if we are receiving information in flat files? So in that context, you have to clean that information. So the cleaning process is called as transformation, wherein you clean up the information, the garbage amount of data, or whatever the values you receive. Now, once we transform that information, the next step is loading that information into a particular system. Now, once we have extracted, we have transformed the information, and we have loaded the information into a particular system, now we should be able to visualize that information in the form of graphs or chart. And after getting the visualization, we can do some business valuable insights. Now, there would be some cases wherein there would be some noise in terms of, if in I mean, whatever you are visualizing, that doesn't mean necessarily that all the information would be relevant. So there would be some sort of noise in those particular information, something that is irrelevant, that is typed as noise in that particular information. So in a typical dashboard, you would be receiving all the fields, all the columns, and you would be creating a dashboard. Now, which column is relevant to you, that is something you have to decide. Now, if a irrelevant column is included in that particular dashboard, it would give a bad, what I would say, insight to the business, and the outcome would be business failure. So you have to carefully decide what is the information that we would like to visualize in that particular dashboard. Now, once the process is over, we need to understand why we need the business intelligence. Now, as I said, we have a driving force in business intelligence called as business analytics. So business analytics is the driving force which powers your business intelligence. and the business intelligence systems. Now, business analytics refers to skills, technologies, practices for continuous iterative exploration and investigation of past business performance to gain insight and drive business planning while understanding the business performance based on data and statistical methods. So whatever information that you receive from different sources, you would be applying business analytics on it to drive some meaningful information out of those statistical tables or information. Now, when it comes to business analytics, there are four important things that comes into picture. One is your descriptive analytics, second is your decision analytics, third is your predictive analytics, and fourth is your prescriptive analytics. Now, what are these four things at the first place? Now, when we say descriptive analytics, here we need to understand what happened, what has happened actually, what is the problem that we are, trying to solve in a particular context. Now, what happened can only be answered with the help of historical data. When you pull your historical information, you can examine what has actually happened. For example, an insurance company, they were doing really well in California region. So all of a sudden the customers started declining. Now why the customers started declining, there would be some reason behind it. So how we would examine the reason behind it? So we would be applying descriptive analytics over there, wherein we would collect all the historical information and then we would clean all those information and we would examine what's the reason behind their exit from that particular insurance company. Probably it would be like they would be frustrated from the customer care service, or the insurance premium would be high, or they would be getting some better offer from the different insurance company. There could be n number of reasons. So all those answers can be answered with the help of descriptive analytics when we study a set of historical data that we have in our system, which is the past information that is collected in that particular system. Now the next step is decision analytics. Now we saw what happened, what was the problem. Now we would understand why this problem happened with the help of decision analytics. Now it supports human decision and visual analytics that the user models to reflect reasoning. It uses data mining to come up with interesting patterns and correlation. Now, let's say we take an example of Amazon. Now, what happened in Amazon of late is there were some customers in Amazon. What they did some fraudulent transaction. Now, how did they do this fraudulent transaction? What they did, they ordered a particular product. Now, after ordering that particular product, they said that this particular product is not as it is described when they received that particular product, and they initiated a return pickup. Now, in that particular process, when they initiated the return pickup, when the delivery boy came to their home, they handed over the product in a packaged format. Packaged format as in they put all the seal and whatever details were there in that particular product, they gave it to the delivery person. The delivery person, they didn't check whether the product that they are returning, the product is there inside that box or not. So what they did, the delivery person picked that particular product and Amazon initiated a refund into their bank account. When Amazon received that particular product, the product was not there inside that. So this is a case of fraud. Another case of fraud would be when Amazon delivered a particular product into a particular person's address. The person received that particular product and they initiated a refund request, claiming that they didn't receive that particular product. Now, this sort of behavior, like why this product are being returned or why this refund is being initiated, Amazon maintains a reason code in their particular system. Now, the reason code in the first case was that the customer didn't receive the right product. The reason code for the second case was that the customer didn't accept that particular order, or the customer received a particular product, or it was lost in transit. So there would be different reason code. Now, what Amazon would be doing, Let's say a customer places 50 order in a particular year. Now in that particular 50 order, let's say 4 to 5 orders are of fraudulent in nature. So what Amazon does, it blocks that particular user in their particular application. Now, how the system came to know that a fraudulent transaction has been carried out in the particular user account? With the help of reason codes that they have maintained. So here, what Amazon system is doing, they are creating an pattern and correlation. Pattern as in, has the person, I mean, created some fraud in his past history? If created any fraud, or if he is the convicted of any sort of fraud, then how many times in a particular year that particular person has been convicted of that particular fraud? So this helps decision analytics to understand why these things are happening, or what is the pattern or correlation behind it, why these things are happening. So it may seem to you and me that system is just placing the order and the delivery boy is coming to us. There is nothing else that is happening around us. But there are many things that are happening. Today's systems are very intelligent in nature. So you don't have to think from a perspective that the system is incapable of doing that, but the system is having a very special feature built into it that is called as activity tracking, wherein they track all your activities, like what you do, what you don't do, and what you would do, all sort of activities. Now this is an example of decision analytics wherein we create a pattern and correlation. Now this thing also happens in insurance industry. We typically called it as a fraud management team, wherein all your insurance related fraud are inspected in sort of your insurance business. Now next is your predictive analytics. Now here we examine what might happen. Now, it's not necessary that you would take action only after a risk has happened. There would be a probability for that particular risk as well. So, predictive analytics helps us understand what might happen or why that particular risk would happen in a near future. For example, uh, this is an insurance company who has a revenue of 1 billion, and all of a sudden they are receiving a big contract from a big shipping company, and the contract or the insurance value of that particular insurance product is around 500 million. Now when this particular thing is awarded to that insurance company, the shipping company would think whether this particular insurance company would be able to settle my risk if something happens, if my ship drowns in sea, or if my container packages are destroyed while it is going through sea. Will the insurance company be able to settle our claims or not? So what they would do, they would do a predictive analytics, like what might happen. Has this insurance company has any history of settling a claim which is approx 500 million in the past or not? They would see through the insurance company's history. Has they, had they settled any insurance claim which is equal to 500 million or more than 500 million? Now that is a parameter for them. If the risk would happen, then the insurance company won't be able to settle their claim. So this way, before giving a contract to any XYZ company, we tend to evaluate certain things that might happen. So that is what predictive analytics helps us understand. Then comes your prescriptive analytics. Here it talks about what should we do. So it recommends decisions using optimization, simulation, etc. So whatever information that you have cleaned so far, or whatever information that you have at this point of time that you have extracted out of that particular system. So prescriptive analytics would help you understand what would be your next set of action or next course of action. So in business analytics, these are the four important things. Descriptive analytics, which talks about what happens; decision analytics, which talks about why it happened; predictive analytics, which talks about what might happen; and prescriptive analytics, which talks about what should we do. And together they are part of your business intelligence framework. Now when we apply the business intelligence process, it's a 4-step process. First, we need to identify the business problem, like why this particular problem happened, or why do we need business intelligence for this particular system. Then we have to plan our business intelligence work. Essentially, what is the scope of our business intelligence work that we would be taking into our work scope. Then we have to start our execution. So this execution has essentially these 6 steps. First, we have to collect the data, then we have to store the data, then we have to clean the data, then we have to analyze the data, and then we have to visualize and interpret the data. So these are the 6 execution steps that you are going to take when it comes to executing a business intelligence process. And of course, the final stage is where we interpret our results. So once we are convinced with the execution, we are ready for interpreting the results for business intelligence framework that we are intending to achieve out of that particular project. Now, there are 2 ways in which you should be able to implement business intelligence. One is your traditional approach, wherein you would be doing all the extraction, transformation, and loading, and you should be able to visualize the information. So you would be having a healthcare system, insurance system, sales system, data distributed in different file format. You would be extracting those information and transform into one single particular file format, and then you would load it into a particular system, and you should be able to visualize the information. This is your traditional approach and also referred to as structured approach. Now then there is a big data approach, which is an unstructured approach. Now here you would be having not only information in different file format, you would be getting information from different sources as well. For example, you would be having Facebook data, Twitter data, Instagram data, YouTube data. Let's say you want to apply business intelligence on the user interest. Now, how would you study the user interest? You cannot rely only on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or YouTube. You have to cumulatively analyze all the users' information from different social media channels. So you would be taking all the information from that particular independent websites. Then you would be creating a data cluster wherein all this information would be hosted. Probably you can use a technology like Hadoop, wherein you would be creating a data cluster. Now that information from data cluster would go to your data warehouse, wherein all the information would be stored in a transformed format. It won't be having information in different sorts. Your data warehouse typically has information in one particular format, probably in Excel table or essentially your databases. Now, from that particular databases, you would visualize the particular information. So this is the big data approach or the unstructured approach of implementing your business intelligence. Now, there are different software options that we could use to analyze the information. We have Qlik View, Qlik Sense, then Tableau, Power BI, Oracle, then SAS, SAP Business Objects. So we have a variety of software options in which we should be able to visualize the information when it comes to business intelligence. Now, when we visualize the information in a particular tool, we have to essentially consider these 4 parameters. One is your data source, second is your dashboard, third is your visualization, and fourth is the lifespan of dashboard. Now, what are the data source? We already talked about data source. We have flat files, SQL databases, then there are other various data sources that we have. Then from that data source, whatever information we would be receiving, we would be creating a particular dashboard. Now the dashboard would essentially have certain sets of data, which are commonly referred as data sets. For example, you have a particular table that you have imported in a particular dashboard. So that particular table would be treated as your data set or the information. After we have created a particular dashboard, we should be able to visualize the information with the help of charts, graphs, colors, legends, and representation. Now we have taken the information with the data source, we have created the data sets in a dashboard, and we have visualized the information. Now what happens next? So next is the lifespan of dashboard. So there are two approaches by which you can connect information to your dashboard. One is your online connection with the datasets, and one is the offline connection with the dataset. Now, offline connection is one-time use. You pull up that information, create a dashboard, and forget about updating that information when it comes to offline connection with datasets. But when it comes to online connection with datasets, the data is in a constant connection. So if someone updates that Google Sheet at the backend, the dashboard automatically reflects that particular change, or it automatically restructure. Same case happens with MS Access Online. So the connection is always alive. The moment you update some information from the original source or the Excel sheet which you have pulled for creating that particular dashboard, your dashboard refreshes automatically. In other case, since it's a one-time use, every time you have an updated information, you have to recreate that particular dashboard manually. So these are the lifespan when it comes to updating a dashboard in your data visualization. So now we will see some examples. Any questions, anyone so far? Okay. So this is your Tableau public screen. You can download it. It's free for use. So what I would do, I would first create a particular, I would first import a specific Excel sheet, and we would try to visualize that Excel sheet via Tableau. Before that, let me show you that Excel sheet, what it is. Now this is your business analysis salary trend that we have. So I have all the countries basis on the year, what is their salary, and this is for business analysis profession. So this has around 9 to 10 countries information starting from 2001 to 2010. Now I would import this Excel sheet into Tableau, and we would try to understand it with the help of visualization options Tableau offers to us. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to import this Excel sheet. So after importing this particular Excel sheet, so in this data source that we have this complete table which have around 100 records over here. Okay, now this is our data sheet. It is imported into our tool, the software tool. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create some visualization over here. So in order to create a visualization, we have some dimensions of that particular data, and we have some measure values that could be measurable. Now the dimension is country, profession, year, and the measures is your salary. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click the country. So I have all the information relevant to that particular country highlighted in that particular Excel sheet. So we had around 10 countries, I believe. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 10 country information. Now I also want to include the salary information, so I would double click on that, and I have included the salary information. So now in this particular visualization, it is showing me the country name and the cumulative salary. Cumulative salary is in salary from 2001 till 2010. So these are the cumulative salary that we have. Now let's say we create this particular information as country-wise salary. Now I'm going to create one more sheet. And here I'm going to put year as an parameter, and in that particular year I would be creating salary as a parameter. Okay, let me do some coloring to it as well for a better representation. So this dark color shows the less salary, and it is ranging till here, the green color which is showing the highest salary for year 2010. Now this highest salary is amongst different countries, or sorry, not different countries, the cumulative salary that has reached till 2010, comprising of all 10 countries. Now let me rename it as year-wise salary. Now in earlier sheet, we saw country-wise salary depending on whatever country we have. And in this particular sheet, we saw yearly salary. Now let us create a particular dashboard which would have both the information. Now this is your Tableau dashboard wherein your actual chart would go in. This is your countrywide salary and this is your yearly salary. So you can take a look around this particular dashboard and it should show the corresponding salary over here basis on whatever country you show. Now this was the case when your information was clean and this did not need any transformation. So this was an information in core Excel sheet. Now let me take a case wherein the information is not in Excel sheet, it is in PDF format. Now how do we clean that particular information? So let's say before that, let me show you the PDF. Let's say this is an stock information. Now if you closely see this particular PDF, the PDF has different elements in it. One is a header image, then there is a table, then there is a graph. Now after that, we see a tabular format information. You could see the information is in tabular format. Now let us check till where the consistency is maintained or the pattern is maintained. So we could see it is maintained till end. Only the first page is not having the information in the desired format and the information is not that much relevant to us. So what we would do, we would import this PDF document and we would consider only the information which could be transformed after extraction. So what I am going to do, I'm going to my Tableau screen. Now, excuse me. In this case, I would import that PDF document. Now it would ask me what the information or what all pages I want to extract from that PDF file. So since I don't need the first page, since the information was not in a proper format, I would directly start from second page and the last page is the 8th number of page. I would click on OK and I would see all the table are imported into my dashboard. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to drag a particular table over here. Now I could see the table has been imported completely into the Tableau screen. Now, if you read through this column, I could see some inconsistencies over here. This is F1, F2, F3, and all of a sudden there is a date and then F5, F6, F7. So what I would do, I would use this particular tool that is data interpreter. So it essentially cleaned up that garbage information that was available. Now after that, I could see 46 rows are coming from table 1. What about the other tables? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a join for other tables. I would simply drag all these tables into it and click on OK. So from 46, the complete count is now 328. So now our information is in a particular format wherein we can create some visualization. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go into a particular sheet and there I'm going to create some visualization. Now here are my measurements and here is my information. So let's say I want to visualize the date. The date is there. Then I want to visualize the volume. The volume is there. Then this is the stock volume. I want to also visualize the lowest rate for that particular stock. And I also want to visualize the highest rate for that particular stock. So this is how I got the information. On this particular date, the highest value was this, the lowest value was this, and the volume was this. So this information that I got. Now I can change the visualization options over here by using different respective ways how I want to visualize the information with the help of this visualizer that is available over here. So this is how you can clean the information and create a dashboard which gives you some meaningful insights.